Let me show you a simple way to organize your habit papers using just 3 folders and some Scotch tape. Here's the problem with regular organization. So you just have a bunch of scattered papers. Maybe you could do 1 folder per habit, but again, that uses a lot of folders. Like if you have like, let's say 29 habits or 16 habits, you would still need dozens of folders. But this strategy, you only need 3 folders. So the simple goal of this idea is so that we can start our habits faster. So instead of having to go through a bunch of folders, we can start off faster with just 3 folders. So let me show you how you do this. Let me first show you my old system and show you why it doesn't work as well. So what I did before is for each habit, I got 1 folder. So like habit 6, habit 7, and so on. But the problem with that is it creates so much clutter. Like you have to carry around dozens of notebooks. And if you have a bunch of clutter, that also leads to procrastination. So what you want is a clear system so you can focus and do the tasks fast and also lower the switch time. Because if you have, say, 16 habits and you can save 2 minutes in switching time for the next habit, that's about 30 minutes a day you save. So that's the old system, 1 folder per habit. Now let's go on to the new system we can try. So for this, you're going to need a Sharpie, some Scotch tape, and 3 different color folders. I'd use different color folders to help organize this a bit more and to make it look a bit nicer. So on our Scotch tape, we're going to write 3 things: to do, examples, and done. So let's start off with the first notebook. So for this, we're going to use purple, and this is going to be our examples. So what do I mean by examples? So you get some Scotch tape, then you put in the middle like this, just like that, and then we can write examples. And then let me explain to you what this one does. So once you've written examples with a Sharpie, then what we're going to do for this examples folder is an example of how you fully complete a habit. So let's say this is habit number 10. If this is habit number 10, you need a full example, a full finished example, exactly how you do this habit. And once that's done, you can put it here. And you can have 1 example paper per habit. So if you have 16 money habits, let's say, you can have 16 example papers of the fully completed habits. So that's examples. Let's go on to the next one. The second one is to do. To do is the task that we have to do. So think of this as our to-do list. So if you have 16 habits, you're going to have 16 papers here to do. Or the ones that you still have left to do for that day. So this is our to-do papers. Okay, you get some papers in there. So every day this is going to reset. So we have 16 habits, let's say, in this folder. On my channel, I show you the 16 habits that you can start with. So you can have 16 blank papers in this folder. So every day you put 16 blank pieces of paper in this folder. So let's actually just count it out real quick. 1, 2, just to show you this works. 13, 14, 15, 16. So that should be 16 blank pieces of paper. And you put that in this folder. Now you don't need to use all these papers every day. Maybe some papers it could take you a week or even a month to use a piece of paper, but you need to have it ready. So we have that there. So now we have examples for each habit. We have 16 blank pieces of paper. And then let's go on to the next one. The third folder is what I call done. Let's put this tape on there. Now this done folder is you put the papers in here once you fully complete it. And then once it's fully completed at the end of the day, you can track that progress on an habit tracking app or habit tracking papers, whichever one you prefer. So let's say for to do, let's say number 10 I finished. So number 10, let's say, and you do what you need to do for habit 10. So once habit 10 is finished, even if you just use this, even if you just wrote the top, a little bit of it. So like, let's say you put a line through here. So even if we just did this part over here, we know that's done. So habit number 10 is done. We put this in the done folder, just like that. So now we have a 3-folder system for our habits. Examples of each fully completed habit. To do, this is the habits that we need to do today. And then done. Once you finish a habit paper, you put in here. And at the end of the day, you can track your habit progress if you want. Now, let me tell you some mistakes to avoid. Is you don't want to overcomplicate this and you don't want to do too many habits. So let me show you what I mean by that. So let's say we have our 16 habit list. You only need to use a paper for each habit. Let me show you the ones that you can use papers for. Free success videos and courses. For that, maybe you can use a separate notebook for that. Reading, again, a separate notebook. Book reviews, so like selling your market on Amazon, Quora. Maybe you can use a paper for this, or you could use a notebook. Study One Smart Marketer. Okay, let's say that's one. So we have it for 5. Improve following list. Okay, we can do that. Business DMs. Okay. Comments a day in self-improvement groups. Okay. So far on the first page, we only have 4 papers we can use. The others, you're on e-paper, so you can use notebooks for that. Networking, okay, we can use that. A nap, we don't really need that. Just set a 15 or 20 minute timer and that's enough. One thing to apply from your old notes, okay. Think of ideas, okay. Or you could use a notebook for this, but paper is also good. Ideas for solving a big problem, okay. Write for today's stuff, or you could use Google Docs for this. So organize your phone apps, financial numbers track. Okay, maybe the financial numbers you can track. So for this, it's only about 8 or 9 habits out of the 16 list that we actually use for papers. So in that situation, so for our to-do, let's say we do 9 habits. So we can take out 7 pieces of paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, and that leaves us with 9. And a lot of these habits, you can use the same piece of paper for at least 1 or 2 weeks or more. So you don't need to use that much papers for this. And each habit that you do doesn't need to actually use paper for it. Some of them you can do in your head or Google Docs or a notebook. Now let's do the final setup. So we have our papers. So this is the old system, right? Look, all these folders we can use, and this is just some of it. This is just, for example, I have like 29 folders I use. Now let me show you after. So you have our 3 notebooks, examples, to do, and done. 3 folders instead of about 29. It's actually a little less than that. And then we have our 16 habit list. So for this is all you need. 3 folders and your habit list. You see how much cleaner that is?